Why should someone never form an S-Corp?
The reason we don't like to use S-Corps is for asset protection purposes. Charging order protection does not apply to corporations. So if you have a corporation or an S-Corp and somebody sues you and has a judgment against you, I can go to the judge and say, hey, he has this S-Corp, give me those shares. The only state that that's not allowed is in Nevada. So if you have an S-Corp and you're like, oops, I shouldn't have set up an S-Corporation, I should have set up an LLC and have it taxed as an S-Corp, which is what you can do. What you may want to consider is re-domiciling it to Nevada, because at least there, they'll give you that charging order protection. But if you have an S-Corp in any other state and there's a judgment against you, they're going to go ask for those shares, the stock, and they're going to get it.
Summers Capital is an LLC, but we file as an S-Corp. It gives you all the asset protection, liability protection, but then it gives you the tax benefits of filing as an S-Corp. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. So if your CPA, your tax professional says you need an S-Corp for tax purposes, great. Yeah. Set up an LLC and have an election, have it taxed as a corp.
Let's be very precise with the language we use. The S corporation is an election with regard to tax status. It is not an actual entity. There are two different entities being discussed in this particular post. One is a corporation and the other is a limited liability company, both of which are creatures of statute, which means they are very state specific. Now, the federal government determines how those creatures of state statute are actually income taxed. And the federal government gives both of those entity types the ability to tell the government how they wish to be taxed. A C corporation, traditional corporation, is typically going to be taxed at the company level first, and then other income that is shared out to the shareholders would be then double taxed, meaning income tax to that shareholder recipient. An LLC, without telling the government how you want to be taxed, is essentially disregarded by the government, and all of the income and expenses pass through that entity to the individual owners, and they pick them up from a filing status standpoint on their personal tax returns on something called a Schedule C. Now, both of those entities could tell the government, we wish to be taxed as if we are following S corporation rules, which essentially just says that the content and character of that income is passed through to the respective owners of those respective entity types. On the LLC side, that's a member. On a corporation, that's a shareholder. Either way, though, the asset protections that are available for a limited liability company, even if it elects S corporation treatment, are intact. So if you choose to form your particular LLC, limited liability company, in a state that has amazing asset protections in place, for instance, Wyoming, which I'm a huge fan of, you get all of those types of charging order protections, even if you're electing S corporation treatment. Now, if you're interested in figuring out which strategies are best for you in your unique circumstance, maybe we could be a fit to helping you out. Let's find out. Just drop the word apply and we'll see.